Pests, like the malaria-carrying mosquito and the tsetse fly, which causes sleeping sickness, has long since discouraged people from moving into the area. For this reason, this bush and its wildlife remained virtually untouched. Until a few adventurous pioneers braved the diseases and dangerous animals. But their exploration had dire results upon the wildlife. Nearly 100 years ago, hunters discovered this spot. And for many years, the wildlife was pursued by trackers and persecuted by smoking guns. The big game species to be found here attracted princes and presidents, all eager to track and kill these animals, notoriously known as the Big Five. The lion, Africa's king of beasts. The buffalo, with its massive set of horns. The rhino, whose horn is believed to hold magical powers. The elephant, the world's largest land mammal. And the leopard, elusive, cunning, and beautiful. These five animals all had the fierce reputations of being the most dangerous animals to hunt. Significant overhunting of the herds and the Big Five caused a drastic decline in the numbers of animals here, which inspired a few visionary conservationists to make history 35 years ago when they set about conserving those that were left. In order to save these animals, a blueprint for ecotourism was designed, setting in motion a series of events that have today ensured that this wildlife hotspot has been revived and preserved. Today and forever. What started out as a private endeavor to share this wildlife area with friends and family, pioneering through the bush in beat-up Land Rovers on wild adventures, has turned into one of South Africa's most lucrative and popular wildlife holiday attractions, the true African safari experience. But most importantly, and most meaningful, is the impact that this has had on the conservation of this area. This area is home to one of the most diverse ecosystems in Africa, with over 500 birds to be spotted and more than 145 mammals to be found. Prey species and predators abound. Over 330 tree species make up part of the massive variety of vegetation available to the herbivores as a food source. This supports large numbers of these animals, which in turn provide plentiful food for the carnivorous mammals, reptiles, and amphibians to be found here. From the smallest carnivore, like the dwarf mongoose, to the world's tallest herbivore, like the giraffe, it can all be seen here. Going on safari is all about experiencing life in the African bush as it happens. Here, something odd is happening. These giraffes are behaving strangely. All are staring in the same direction, ears perked and listening intently. Lion, Africa's largest feline predator. But giraffes are not easy prey to take down. A male can grow up to 18 feet tall and weigh 2,000 pounds. With their long legs and big hooves, they are capable of delivering powerful kicks, which can be lethal to a lion. The giraffe makes use of its height advantage. The ability to perform this kind of surveillance on its surroundings is yet another giraffe defense mechanism against attacks from predators. But this lioness is alone. Without the support of her pride, she poses no threat to the giraffes. The rest of her pride is further off in the distance, hidden among the long grasses. Although she is showing interest in the giraffe, her pride aren't hunting today. They have chosen to wait out the heat of the summer afternoon in the shade instead. Once lying down, it's hard to see the lions. Their coats blend perfectly into their surroundings. This camouflage aids lions in getting up close to their prey when stalking. Off to the south, the pride males are also resting. Temperatures can soar here in the summer, reaching highs of 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Although they don't often participate in the hunting, they will wait for the cool evening air before they become a little more active. Lions are Africa's largest big cats, with males weighing in at up to 550 pounds. Sexually mature and dominant males are, either singularly or in a coalition of 2 to 4 males, responsible for a pride of females and their offspring. Prides are made up of a number of female relatives and their young. These females are polyestrous, which means that they can go into heat several times a year. Although lions can mate and have cubs at any given time during the year, pride females will often synchronize their reproductive cycles. This allows them to raise and suckle their cubs together. Although the lionesses do the majority of the hunting, they will spend much of their time resting and are inactive for about 20 hours of the day. Lions generally become more active after dusk, when they spend a little time grooming each other and socializing. Pride members are not only closely related, but also share close bonds with their offspring and other females in the pride. Grooming reaffirms these bonds, and the strength of these relationships prove themselves when the lions head out hunting, relying on each other to work as a team. Once, lion roars were a terrifying sound heard on the night air around a campfire. Today, guests can experience these majestic animals going about their daily lives in their natural habitat. Over 6 hours a day are spent on safari. Highly trained guides take their guests out into the bush early every morning, and again late every afternoon, in search of the animals they have often traveled very far to see. Because the guides are highly trained and permanently stationed in the reserve, they come to recognize particular animals and learn their territories. This allows the guide to have a better chance at finding the animals when taking guests out on game drives. The opportunity to spend an afternoon in the company of a pride of lions is unparalleled. And these guests will take with them lasting memories. As the cats move off into the night, the guests are driven slowly back to their lodge for the evening, enjoying the still cool evening air and the magnificent colors of the sky from a classic African sunset. A pod of hippos prepare for the evening in the 𝗏𝗲𝗃 River as the moon rises swiftly in the night sky. A perfect end to day one of this safari. It is very early morning. This is the perfect time to leave camp and slowly move through the bush, scanning the area for any sign of the wildlife reported to be so abundant here. They are almost instantly rewarded with the sight of 2 hippos appearing from the depths of the waterhole. Hippos are semi-aquatic and spend their days in the water to keep cool. Often, only their eyes and nostrils will be seen above the water. It is at dusk that they will leave the water to graze on grass along the banks of the waterholes or rivers they inhabit. But the hippos are not alone here. Low bellows and grunts can be heard across the water. A small herd of buffalo are ankle deep in the water and are drinking noisily. Although these animals are highly adaptable when it comes to grazing and habitat, the one thing they require is a daily supply of water. This means that they are only able to exist in areas where there is a year-round source of water. These animals historically gained their status as members of the Big Five for their notorious habit of circling back on hunters and making surprise attacks on their adversaries from behind. Perhaps in the extreme circumstances of a hunt, these animals are to be feared. But left undisturbed in their natural habitat, they are in fact docile and placid, content to wander through the bush, selecting choice grazing, and dividing their days between feeding and drinking at the nearest waterhole or river. Despite this placid existence, buffalo are nevertheless a prey species and will instantly take on any predator threatening a youngster or adult member in the herd. Although buffalo are herd animals, The males often form bachelor groups. These are made up of similarly aged bulls that form part of the substructure of the herd. Although buffalo have poor eyesight and hearing, their sense of smell is excellent. And this bull has picked up a strange scent. Although he isn't overly alarmed at his discovery, he displays a little to show that he is aware of the foreign presence. Sometimes, old males may even be solitary, preferring to exist alone and only occasionally associate with the herds when coming into contact with them. Buffalo often indulge in mud baths. This is an efficient pest control method which buffalo employ to help rid themselves of irritating flies, ticks, and other parasites. In the heat of summer, a cool mud pool is also the perfect retreat from the scorching African sun. Built for defense, male and female adults are adorned with massive horns. But it is possible to distinguish males from females. Bulls have an extra hard shield covering their foreheads to protect their brains when fighting. This shield is known as the boss. In addition to a plentiful supply of water, buffalo also need access to shade. They are bulk grazers and prefer savanna areas with a rich supply of grass and trees dotted around to provide them with shade. They are herd animals and exist in groups up to thousands of individuals. Although these herds are not territorial, they do roam over a home range and rarely overlap with the ranges of other buffalo herds. As it gets hotter and closer to midday, the bush grows quiet as the animals abandon their search for food and take to the shade or the mud and wait out the heat of the day. This is the cue for guides to take their guests back to their lodges to rest and prepare for another excursion into the bush later in the afternoon. For guests visiting one of the destinations within the Sabi Sand Reserve, an unforgettable experience is guaranteed. Daily activities have been designed to maximize game viewing, and guides are highly trained to interpret their surroundings and impart their vast knowledge of the area and its wildlife to their guests. The ability to identify and understand signs that animals leave behind as they move in the bush allows the guides to share with their guests the details of life in this wild habitat. Although the Big Five usually tops the guests' sighting wish lists, it is the diversity of species to be found here that will ensure them a fulfilling wildlife experience. Wildebeest are herd animals and can be found in great numbers in East Africa. But in South Africa, They exist in much smaller groups. Their group size is determined by availability of food and space. And here, they share their habitat with a number of other animals. Warthogs are omnivores and will eat anything from grasses and roots to berries and bulbs. But they have also been known to indulge in a little carrion from time to time. As the safari moves on further into the wilderness, there is a large figure ahead. Elephants. These are the world's largest land mammals, and they have certainly earned themselves a deserving position on the top of the sighting wish lists. Despite their massive size and incredible strength, modern-day game viewing of elephants is perfectly safe. Elephants are renowned members of the Big Five. In addition to their high intelligence and surprising speed and agility, they can grow to 12 feet in height and tip the scales at nearly 7 tons. But elephants are gentle creatures, and as long as the herd is not disturbed, the animals pose no threat. In a situation like this, where a mother and her calf are in close proximity, a guide's knowledge of animal behavior is crucial. A mother elephant can very quickly turn into a lethal force if she feels that the safety of her calf is being compromised. Although many generations ago, these elephants were hunted mercilessly. Today, they are no longer forced to defend themselves and have no need to fear humans. In this reserve, it is fairly easy to view elephants. They are comfortably habituated to safari vehicles and do not associate human presence with danger. Watching elephants in their natural environment is always an exciting and breathtaking experience. The sheer proportion of their bodies is awesome. With long, muscular trunks, they slowly spend their days browsing through the bush, selecting choice leaves and branches to eat. As they move, the guests viewing nearby can hear their low-frequency communication and the rumbles of their tummies. It is these noises, accompanied by rustling and crackling sounds, that will often alert guides the presence of elephants in the bush. These animals are super keystone species in this area, meaning they are a vital part of the functioning ecosystem. Although they consume massive amounts of vegetation, not much of this plant matter is broken down in their digestive systems. As a result, this means that seeds and other vegetation pass through their systems almost untouched and are deposited away from their origins, providing a source of food to insects and birds who feed off their dung. But it is the dimensions of their digestive systems which are so interesting. Their mouths are proportionally small when compared to the size of their stomach, which is huge. A large bull elephant's intestines can develop to a staggering length of 62 feet. Amazingly, despite their enormous size, elephants are surprisingly agile, and due to thick padding on the sole of their feet, they can move through the bush almost silently. This feature and their coloring help to camouflage them easily, and these giants are able to blend into the bush as easily as the day turns into night. As the afternoon turns into evening, day 2 of this African safari draws to a satisfying end. Spending time in the company of these majestic animals is always a privilege. This morning's game drive has started earlier than expected. A group of white rhino, sometimes collectively referred to as a crash of rhino, have spent the night in the warmth of the sand on the road just outside camp. And they are not yet ready to start their day. Rhino horn is a much sought-after commodity in the Asian world of traditional healing. And despite being hunted almost to extinction many years ago, these animals made a miraculous recovery after laws were introduced to protect them from hunting. But although there are healthy populations existing today, poaching is on the increase throughout Africa, and rhino are once again being targeted. But here, they are safe and protected. The tiny birds, always seen on or near rhino, are oxpeckers. These birds have a symbiotic relationship with the rhino. They offer the animals a pest control service, as well as an early warning system. If danger is near, the birds will call out and warn the rhino. They are by nature not aggressive animals, and a walking safari with a trained guide allows for an intimate viewing experience on foot. These animals may seem hefty and ungainly, and their eyesight may be poor, but their sense of smell and hearing is phenomenal. If threatened, they will charge first and ask questions later. They are certainly a force to be reckoned with. Rhino can run up to 40 miles per hour. The rhino are second only in size to the African elephant and can weigh up to a whopping size of 6,000 pounds. Although their massive size gives the impression of being tough and hardy, their skin is surprisingly soft. It is very sensitive to sunburn and insect bites. And this is why guests might on occasion come across rhino wallowing, just like the buffalo they spotted yesterday morning. White rhino are grazers, and the mixed savanna and grassland vegetation in the reserve provides them with a perfect habitat. These rhino live in herds of up to 14 members, of which most are usually females and young, and occasionally subordinate males. But most adult bulls are solitary, and dominant males are territorial. These bulls will fight over mating rights to a female and their territory. But females have overlapping territories and do not defend them. As the sun gets lower in the sky, the unmistakable call of the 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁𝗁 rings out through the bush. It is the perfect time of day to start looking for animals again. This afternoon, a brief glimpse of the most elusive of the big five is spotted. Leopard. This shy cat is renowned for being incredibly evasive. Its exquisite golden coat, decorated with black rosettes, tops many a hunter's wish list. But it is this very coat which enables it to disappear in the bush without a trace. Highly camouflaged, it is very difficult to pick out this animal when it is hiding. For this reason, the chance of spotting a leopard is a highly prized event on a game drive for guests and guides alike. Following the reports, directions will be vital. Spotting the leopard in the long grass might prove otherwise impossible. But the guide has a sharp eye and has found the cat. The guests are thrilled with the sighting. As they sit and watch, the guide shares with them his knowledge of the predator. Although it seems as if they are very close to the leopard, the guests are in no danger. The guide is trained to read the cat's body language. He will not make the cat uncomfortable by getting too close. The leopard is protected in this reserve, and it has no reason to feel threatened by the human presence. Hunting no longer takes place here, and this is a safe environment. A sighting like this one provides the guests with an incredible photographic opportunity. Viewing one of these majestic cats in its natural habitat up close is an experience of a lifetime. Historically very elusive in these parts, the leopards living in this area are now accustomed to vehicles and humans, and this reserve offers some of the best leopard sightings in Africa. Seeing a leopard relaxing in a tree is one of the most prized sightings on an African safari. They are solitary, nocturnal, and arboreal cats, preferring to wait out the heat of the day in the cool shade of high branches. From this vantage point, the leopard has good visuals of the ground below, enabling it to keep an eye on any potential prey passing by. Highly agile and powerful, and renowned for their stealth, these cats are capable of launching an aerial attack on prey below, killing within seconds, and hoisting a carcass up to 3 times its own weight into a tree to consume. A warthog carcass would offer no great difficulty to a fully grown adult leopard. They are favored prey, although often prove difficult to catch as they are fast and clever. Adult warthogs are equipped with tusks and have been known to launch counterattacks on predators when cornered. A mother protecting her babies is certainly a force to be reckoned with. Although their primary defense is to flee when threatened, a female warthog with piglets will defend them very aggressively. They have been known to inflict such serious wounds that in this instance, the attacking predator has bled to death. This sounder of warthogs may not be a wise choice of meal for the leopard after all. But the leopard has spotted the potential meal below. Oblivious to the unseen threat above, the family of warthogs moves slowly through the grass, grazing as they go. The babies are still young and inexperienced and do not pay much attention to their surroundings. They move directly under the tree, completely oblivious to almost certain death above them. Leopards are versatile and opportunistic hunters, and they have an incredibly varied diet. Highly adaptable, they will hunt a large range of prey, using their exceptional hearing and good eyesight to locate their targets. If the leopard makes a kill today, it will most likely drag the carcass up into the tree to prevent it being snatched by other predators or scavengers. The leopard eyes one individual specifically. But today, it's too hot. And for the leopard, the opportunity isn't worth the energy it would expend. And it chooses instead to sleep off the heat of the day and wait for nightfall. As the sun sets over the African bushveld, the guide and his guests return to the lodge, enjoying another sighting of buffalo along the way. These old bulls have spent the day in a mud pool and are now heading off to find somewhere safe to spend the night. Although buffalo are dangerous and difficult prey to take down, an experienced pride of lions will not hesitate to try their luck in hunting one of these massive ungulates. Killing a buffalo means a hearty meal for a large number of lions. The rhino that were on the road this morning have also spent time in the mud baths today. White rhino are grazers, and in cool conditions will feed alternatively for a few hours at a time during the day and night. They do not require water daily, but will sometimes wander up to 6 miles in search of it. But here, this is unnecessary. There is plentiful water in the area, situated in water holes and the rivers found here. As the silhouettes grow darker, an old elephant bull wanders along a ridge in the distance. The leopard has left its tree refuge and is also making its way through the bush. The sun will soon set, and it is time to hunt. But rhino are certainly not on the menu for the leopard. It will keep moving, searching for suitable prey. As the last rays of the sun tip the top of the clouds in the vast African sky, a perfect African safari comes to an end. In years gone by, hunters may have been setting up camp and planning their assaults for the next day. But the animals in this reserve can be assured that the only human visitors to their habitats will be guests coming here on safari to take delight in viewing these animals in their natural habitats. As long as the guests keep coming, the conservation of this area and its wildlife will be funded, and the animals will be protected.